I'm Ross Trachtenberg with Figured Out Baseball. I'm the recruiting coordinator at Westchester University in Pennsylvania. I wanted to share some information about how you can help a player get out of a slump. A lot of this can be applied to the team setting as well, where the team's just not playing well at a certain point of a season. But I think what we want to consider is the amount of repetitions that a player has to take compared to the actual number of live swings or live ground balls a player gets an opportunity for in a game situation. It's huge. How many batting practice swings do you take compared to the 4 or 5 actual swings you take in a game? With that in mind, when a player gets into a slump, if we're talking about a hitting slump, there's no better way than to keep swinging the bat. And that's my encouragement to the player that's just not making the contact that they want to. It's let's figure this out in the batting cage together. And sometimes players need some time alone. They want to work off of a tee or a pitching machine, get to a comfort level. That's perfectly fine. But to me, it's going to be putting the time and good effort in. With that in mind, you can also recognize when a player might be doing too much and needs a break and needs to step away from the game or step away from their swings. And this is not for a long period of time, and certainly if you're in season it needs to be very short. But I think what's important there is knowing when to tell a player you need to step back a bit. If a player is a starter for your program and a major contributor, a really tough decision can be to pull them from the lineup or have them not start a game. This can certainly help the player clear their head, take a little pressure off of them. And I think if you're going to take that step, it's important to have a conversation with the player to say, you're going to sit this game, you're not going to start this game, I want you available, you're still our starter at whatever position, but let's just take a little pressure off and let's give you a little bit of extra time in the batting cage. Those are steps where you're showing confidence in that player, but also kind of taking them out of the situation where they're doing the same thing over and over again without success. Now, when possible, you want to try and build a player back up, build that confidence back up and their skill sets back up in a comfortable setting. So putting them in low pressure situations is a great way to do that. And this can be with certainly a starter or for that player that's maybe a little bit down your depth chart. During a practice setting, can you put that batter against a pitcher that they've got a decent chance of success against, rather than putting that batter that's struggling in a practice setting up against your number one pitcher? The same would be true certainly for a pitcher who's just not doing their best. Have that pitcher face some of the lower end hitters, some of the less experienced hitters, rather than throwing that struggling pitcher in a practice setting against your best hitters on the team. Give them a chance to be successful in a practice setting if possible. If you're in the thick of the season, then again, play the matchups. When the team has a big lead or is behind a lot, you can give that player that low pressure opportunity to get that at bat, to get in the game as a relief pitcher. It might even be just as a pinch runner, just to again get that player back in the game. So as best as you can, you've got to manage that playing time a little bit. And I think it's important to communicate with that player, what are we doing and how can we work together to get you through this slump. Another suggestion would be to keep things very simple for the player as you're giving them those opportunities in practice or in game settings to kind of break out of the slump. So for a hitter, it might be simply, you're a really good fastball hitter, let's just focus on hitting the fastball. So if you see a breaking ball, leave it alone. Any fastball that's around the zone, let's be aggressive. For a pitcher, it might just be, your command is very good. Let's just work on first pitch fastballs. Let's make sure we get strike one. And again, if they're in a lower pressure situation, that approach can be successful for them. So again, these are just a few ideas of how to help an individual break out of a slump or help the team if they're kind of in a rut. Again, try and simplify things for them, try and slow things down. And I think working together by communicating with that player can really help that player along. I hope this is helpful for you, and I look forward to sharing more information with you in the future.